The swinging doors creaked loudly in the silence, which was broken intermittently by the groans of the injured man. "We've got to get him to a doctor," Shiloh snapped as he examined Tarver. "Waste of time," a tall young cowboy muttered as he turned back to the bar. "Saw lots of gut shots in the war and can't rightly remember a man jack of 'em living through it. Might as well take Axel home and let him die in as much peace as he can get in the next hour or two." "Help me," Shiloh grunted as he struggled to lift the huge timber man. Several men, all of them dressed as lumberjacks, rushed to help. The three largest finally wrestled Tarver up and staggered toward the door. "Where are you going?" the tall cowboy asked idly as the men struggled by him. "To Doc's down the street," Shiloh panted. The cowboy shrugged. "Okay. Reckon if you can carry that big ox, I can carry Doc Guinness." He took a last swig of beer, wiped his mouth, and swaggered over to a man sitting at a table alone, his head down on his arms. A half-empty bottle of whiskey sat on the table next to one smudged shot glass. "Doc," the young cowboy yelled, "get up! You got a patient." "Huh? What?" the old man asked. Bleary-eyed, he lifted his head and looked around. The cowboy threw Doc Guinness's arm around his shoulders, pulled him upright, and followed the procession carrying the wounded man out the door. Beside him, Doc Guinness hung on tightly, stumbling blindly as they went. Cheney Duvall sat in a burgundy velvet chair at a small mahogany table by the window. The tiny sitting room was elegant but dark, with heavy velvet drapes and a patterned blue and burgundy carpet. Bleak afternoon light filtered through the open window. Distant thunder grumbled for long seconds, and a cool, wet breeze stirred a thick curl that hung over Cheney's shoulder. A gunshot cracked in the sullen silence, and Cheney looked up from her embroidery to search the street 2 floors below. Must have been in log jammers, she thought anxiously. Hope Shiloh's all right. Nervously, she watched the swinging doors directly across the street from the Empire Hotel. She made a lovely picture framed by the gray aura of the window. She had washed her waist-length auburn hair that morning, and it had taken her over an hour to brush it out. Now, at 3:30 in the afternoon, her hair was finally completely dry, but Cheney had tied a simple black ribbon around it instead of elaborately dressing it. Thick curls covered her shoulders and back, and though the light was dim, an occasional glint of red fire flashed as she moved her head. Her eyes were sea green, with thick dark lashes and rather heavy dark brows. A beauty mark, inherited from her mother, adorned her left cheekbone. With her short, small nose, wide mouth, and determined chin, Cheney's face was too strong to be called beautiful, but it was an expressive, interesting face. She was 24 years old, tall, 5 feet 10 inches, and slender, and her movements and gestures were deft and purposeful. Cheney sat up a little straighter to watch as a tall man dressed in black pushed through the swinging doors of the saloon. He mounted a glossy palomino that was tied outside, and horse and rider disappeared from Cheney's view. In a few moments, 4 men struggled through the doors, carrying another man, and even from 2 floors above and across the street, Cheney could see the dark bloodstain on the man's tanned shirt. She breathed a sigh of relief when she saw that Shiloh Irons was one of those who carried the injured man. Setting her jaw in a stubborn line, she sat back, picked up her embroidery hoop, and stabbed it vengefully with a large needle. "Cannot imagine why I waste my time worrying about him. Why can't I remember that he's a big boy? He can take care of himself." For 15 minutes she sewed with more determination than skill, until